Hello, fabulous viewers. I'm William. The people of Australia care deeply about your health and happiness because we are all brothers and sisters in truth. May the Almighty bless you abundantly. Welcome to part 2 of our two-part show entitled IPCC Special Report on Climate Change and Land, Heralding a Plant-Powered Global Food System, Part 2 of 2. The Climate Change and Land Special Report released by the UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change IPCC in August 2019 is a much-needed boost in our ongoing tussle with climate change. It comes on the heels of the 2018 Special Report on the Impacts of Global Warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius, which warns that we have only 12 years left by 2030 to take drastic actions to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius from pre-industrial time. With 1.5 degrees Celsius of planetary warming, Earth will still face a high risk of food and water shortages, extreme weather, loss of biodiversity, rampant wildfires, and mass coral reef disintegration. However, it gives us a fighting chance to forestall a catastrophic runaway global warming. That is why the 174 countries at the 2016 Paris Climate Agreement considered it imperative that we keep global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius or at least well under 2 degrees Celsius. One of the most notably important assumptions in the 2018 IPCC Special Report was that global emissions of CO2 must begin declining by 2020 to limit Earth's temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2030. Since countries usually implement their plans over a 5 or 10-year timeframe, the plans really need to be on the table very soon. This is why, according to more and more key climate scientists and politicians, including His Royal Highness Prince Charles of the UK, we actually have only 12 months for nations to negotiate and agree to new large cuts in their own carbon emissions. Long-standing IPCC member Hans Schellenhuber, founder and director emeritus of the Potsdam Climate Institute, commented,
"The climate math is brutally clear. While the world can't be healed within the next few years, it may be fatally wounded by negligence until 2020.
The grim reality is, current plans will take us to a 3 to 5 degrees Celsius warming by the turn of the century, according to the UN. This could set off even more tipping points in the subsequent centuries, resulting in a hothouse Earth, a scenario that could mean the end of life on Earth. Some intellectuals are skeptical whether a 3 to 5 degrees Celsius warming could lead to an existential threat, pointing out that our planet has seen temperatures as high as 14 degrees Celsius warmer in the last 500 million years. However, temperature changes were so gradual in the past that life had plenty of time to adjust. By contrast, the present rate of warming calculated over the past 40 years is a staggering 60 times faster than any natural climate change. According to a study led by Jonathan Baker, a geoscientist of the University of Nevada, this is far faster than any living thing had to cope with. The exceptions are mass extinction events, in which an abrupt climate change, asteroid strike, or some other global natural disaster occurred. In those events, an average of 83% of species was lost. Perhaps it is not a coincidence that biologists are saying that we are in the throes of the 6th mass extinction. According to the UN Environment Programme, 150 to 200 species of plants, insects, birds, and mammals are disappearing every 24 hours. Around 1 million species are facing extinction within decades. That is nearly 1,000 times the natural rate. In view of such daunting challenges, the IPCC Climate Change and Land Special Report could represent our last hope for a sustainable future. It is the first ever comprehensive look at the whole land climate system in all its complexities. Weighing in at close to 1,400 pages, it covers a wide array of topics related to land use and recommends 40 measures aimed at reining in climate change. Most of these measures have only low to medium benefits, but two prominent themes in the report point to a powerful climate solution with overarching rewards. It is also a solution that can be carried out on both the individual and the governing front. The first of these themes involves the preservation of our world's forests, as well as other land-based carbon-absorbing sinks, such as wetlands and grasslands. The second theme focuses on putting an end to our grossly inefficient food system. Praiseworthy viewers, let us take a moment to listen to an uplifting message. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back, truthful viewers. Let us now take a closer look at the two key themes from the IPCC report that could provide an answer to our climate crisis. Since both themes are tied to land use, it is not surprising that they are inextricably intertwined. The first theme focuses on the fact that healthy ecosystems and soils serve as an important carbon sink, but a degraded land can only sequester a small amount of CO2 or even function as a net greenhouse gas emitter. Currently, healthy land and soils remove 28% of total human-caused CO2 from the air. By contrast, human activities have degraded 2 billion hectares of land, the size of South America. Thus now, this land cannot capture any significant amount of CO2 from the atmosphere at all. With the world population expected to reach 10 billion by 2050, further degradation of our land is anticipated. Accordingly, the authors of the report say that it is of paramount importance to protect Earth's carbon sinks, particularly the tropical rainforests. In other words, we cannot continue to clear-cut old-growth rainforests the way we do now, at the rate of 30 football fields per minute, or around 12 million hectares per year. Besides preserving existing carbon sinks, the panel says that we can take action to expand Earth's carbon sinks, such as practicing agroforestry, which is a farming method where trees or shrubs are grown among crops or pasture land. Agroforestry has the additional benefit of preventing soil erosion and increasing the carbon-holding capacity of the soils. In addition to agroforestry, we can engage in afforestation, which is the planting of trees on barren land, and reforestation, which is the planting of native trees in deforested areas. However, since practically all the fertile land is already in use, where do we find the extra land for afforestation? That brings us to the other key theme, or proposition of the report, which is a global food system reform. Part of the reform involves reducing food waste, which the panel says accounts for 8 to 10% of all global emissions. This is a significant number. The ways by which we can cut down on food waste include improving harvesting methods, reducing overeating, and refraining from discarding excess food. However, the real elephant in the room that has received little attention in the past high-profile reports is that an astonishing 77% of the world's agricultural land is either grazing land or cropland for livestock production. Despite taking up such a high percentage of our best land, meat and dairy only make up 17% of global caloric supply and 33% of global protein supply. Given such a woefully wasteful food system, it is no surprise that meat, dairy, farmed fish, and eggs top the chart as contributors to greenhouse gases. The report concludes that transitioning to a plant-strong diet can free up hundreds of millions of acres of land, which will help to curb deforestation and climate change. In Chapter 5, titled Food Security, of the IPCC's report, they compared the greenhouse gas mitigation potential of various diets, and clearly, the vegan diet emits the least amount of GHGs. The panel also points out that a plant-strong diet is health-promoting and puts much less pressure on the medical systems of nations and consequently the world economy. The largest dietetic academies of the US, UK, and Canada go a step further, saying that a well-balanced vegan diet is healthful for all stages of life. Let us now hear from one of the lead authors of the Climate Change and Land Report, Professor Pamela McElwee, on this topic.
We know that our dietary choices make a big impact. So, for example, if we talk about high greenhouse gas emissions diets, those are associated with meat consumption. And so when we're talking about potentially reducing those greenhouse gas emissions, dietary change has to be on the table. So we're talking about potentially reducing excess meat consumption, particularly in developed countries of the West. And we get co-benefits from that. We know that excess meat consumption also contributes to negative health outcomes. So for us, it's potentially a win-win to address the climate crisis, but also health problems.
Thus, it is clear that a plant-based diet is the ultimate solution, halting both greenhouse gases and deforestation in one sweep. Upon hearing of the IPCC special report suggestion for the world to transition to a plant-strong diet, our beloved Supreme Master Ching Hai was overcome with joy.
We had good news. United Nations and all the countries in the world signed the less meat protocol. No? So it's becoming official now. I hope they'll just go forward, become meatless. Not less meat, but meatless. No meat at all. That's why I came to celebrate with you. I want to thank all the vegans out there, all the persons, all the groups, all the organizations, all the governments, anyone who ever promote compassionate vegan way of life to save our world for us and for the next generation. Even just in your heart, you wish the world to become vegan. And all the governments who approve, who make into law, or who are going to make into law, for the citizen to stay on compassionate, healthy vegan diets. I thank all of you. May you continue these noble actions to save our world and the planet for the next generations. May God bless you forevermore.
We are truly humbled by the extraordinary effort of the mostly volunteer IPCC team that produced such a benchmark work, heralding a vegan world of peace and harmony. We pray that every person who contributed to this special report will be honored in heaven for eternity. For more information on the IPCC Special Report, Climate Change and Land, please visit ipcc.ch/SRCCL.
All information concerning the scientific evidence of climate change and its solution is in Supreme Master Ching Hai's book, From Crisis to Peace, free to download at crisistopeace.org.